Good morning. This it's really cold right now in Arches National Park, and I'm 2 days without a shower. So apologies the warmed over look, but this is installment number 4 of Road Trip Lemonade, the Keeping It Real series, and I wanted to come out. I'm up here on this rock in Arches National Park, about a half mile from the campground, which you can see back in the distance over there. And came up here this morning to watch the sunset, which was the sunrise this morning. And this just gets to the topic of today's video, which is alone time. That's the title. And this is probably perhaps the most controversial topic of all of them that I've posted so far, in basically because people have different needs and thoughts about alone time. And I've learned a lot on this trip about my needs for alone time, and they're different than Harlan's. And this has nothing to do with the state of the relationship. Love Harlan very much, and that's not what it's about. But I also have come to understand that I really need some time either by myself or with girlfriends. It's just a different energy and a different need that's being met. And it has been hard on Road Trip Lemonade to get alone time. In part, like this morning, I had to crawl up a half a mile up the rocks and do a little scrambling, and it's quite chilly here, really chilly. So, but have my own time this morning. Did a meditation up here on the rocks. Can't drive to meet a friend because driving is the home. Like that leaves Harlan without a place. The times that I've been able to structure time by myself is when we've been, close to a town and we could bike somewhere. I could bike to a place to be by myself or walk in a park. We can do some trails. Some trails I feel safe walking on alone, some not. Some of those experiences you want to also share with a person, so it's different. And Harlan doesn't love what he calls party separation, so prefers to hike together. So there's just these considerations, and while it's not impossible to make it happen, it's challenging, and I can tell the level of need for alone time by the energy. And when we start really snapping at each other, then I'm like, oh, I need a little time apart just to regroup and recenter. And that can be hard sometimes to get to that point of understanding. It can be hard to ask for it. And it can be hard logistically to make happen. So a couple months ago, it took me a while to get to this point. I said, I think I'd like at least a half a day a week to myself. Let's schedule that. You can't always get it, and it's maybe a couple hours, but when we're driving to different places and then setting up and taking down and on, it can be challenging. So this is something I wish I would have taken into consideration earlier on and planned a little bit more for. I'm glad I did it when I finally did it, and it's just one of the things I'm looking forward to as we start heading back to being in the Northwest again and settling down for a little while, is to scheduling some downtime and some time with girlfriends and just having that different experience. So 24/7 for a year is a lot. And again, it feels controversial, or it's not an unloving thing to say. So alone time is important and precious, and that's been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned on this trip. So that's it for today. I'll just give you a 360 from Arches. That over there is where the sun came up this morning. There's the valley behind me, and again, it's a beautiful place to be, and I'm glad I carved out a little alone time for myself this morning. Until next time, love from Road Trip Lemonade.